Hello everyone, welcome back to NFQ podcast, where we can learn about all of the new trends and changes in the technology world from the top industry experts and also thought leaders from all over the world. First of all, thank you for spending the time with us today, Manu. Can you have a short introduction to our audience?
Thank you for having me. Yeah, I'm Manuel. I am actually, or I will become 37 years this year, so I'm getting slowly but slowly old. And I work in the tech industries, I would say, since ever. So I worked a lot of, that was my hobby in the first years, and then I did my, in Germany they call it Ausbildung. And so I would say it's more like an internship and getting a practical developer. And then I worked as a solution architect, I guess is the best translation for it. And so since 13 years actually I'm working for Shopmacher. And in the last 7 years I become one of the shareholders, and I'm now the CTO of the company. And also I had a big opportunity in the last roughly 6 or 7 years, a long time, to build up from zero up to today our locations together with you guys here in Vietnam, with today 2 locations and a little bit over 20 people.
Yeah, so by the way, fun question. Do you remember how long we have been working together?
Yeah, I'm not totally sure. I would say it was December 2016. The only thing I can remember is that it was very interesting because we go from pre-Christmas time in Germany. It was very cold in Germany. And we fly over and it's very, very hot. And then we are in the middle in the city and we miss the big shopping malls and you have all the Christmas decoration, but it's also very hot.
Yeah,
and
it's still hot by the way.
It's still hot, it's the whole year hot here, yes, correct. And you hear a lot of Christmas sounds, and it was some kind of like confusing staying at least 30, 35 degrees with Christmas sounds. So that was my first experience with Vietnam.
Cool.
And I never were in Asia before, by the way.
What do you believe that sets Shopmacher apart from all of the other agencies in the market? What are you so proud about your company?
I guess what we try to do, and I would not say that we're the only one who do it, but what we try to do is really to understand what is the real need. So we try to not be focused on a technology or a vendor. We try to understand what is the real need of customer, and then if we understand it, we try to find a technology. And if we are okay with the technology, then we try to find, if available, vendors for the technology. It's not that we say, okay, we sell one software, one vendor and implement it. It's more like we are completely neutral on the market and we try to find the best solution, and that sometimes means we never worked with this technology before and we also have to learn it. But if it's the best fit based on the whole consulting phase you do and the figures you identify, then it's something we really would like to do, because we do not believe in that there are software is not a solution. Software need to help you, and that's what we try to do, and that's, I hope, something which separates us from the market, because what we actually see in Germany is that there are a lot of specialized companies specialized on vendors and software, and we try to see it a little bit in a wider range.
So if you can reflect on your whole journey with Shopmacher, or even your whole journey in the technology world, what really changed tremendously in the industry? What what works today that doesn't work in the past, or doesn't really exist in the past?
Or it's getting all even faster. So I would say in the days I start being a programmer, I had somehow the feeling that's maybe not correct, but it's somehow like this. You have to do and could do anything by yourself, let's say manually. There are no bigger frameworks. Of course, you have some older language like C, C++, and so on, Java. But the frameworks we know today are just upcoming. PHP was very, very something in the early days. Today it's different. And also you had the feeling, if you know, like say C++, you can do it your whole life. Today it's more like the feeling it changed year by year and getting even faster. New technologies on the market, the whole cloud thingy, the new languages you will use, that's definitely changed, and also affects in the case that any one of us need to change a little bit every day. Because if you stay still, you slowly getting a step back.
Yeah, talking about the changes, what is your view on the technology industry in 2023? Do you think we're gonna grow again crazily like during the COVID or before the recession, or do you think that it will take a while?
I'm not a market specialist, but personally I would say the whole Corona situation was something special for anything and also for the tech industry, especially most parts of the e-commerce getting up very, very rapidly. So it's a big grow. But personally I think, and that's how we manage the company, we stick with our numbers from 2019, post-COVID, because we think that was something once happened, hopefully once, and something which was effect which is not normal. So if you now try to create your strategy based on the last COVID year numbers, you will have some hard years, and also especially in Germany, so that's my personal feeling, you have a delay between the energy crisis and, let's say, a budget for a company like us. So the last winter the energy was very expensive in Germany, and frequently the bills for the energy you consume will come half of a year later, and also will mean then in the next year you maybe will have less money spending for some goods you not really need, and that will mean half of a year or a year later your budget as a company like us is also getting down. So I would say this year is also very challenging, and I hope that we stabilize with the whole industry, but I also try to be as calm as possible and not try to reach the stars, because we see it was a hype, but the hype is actually over.
Okay, so you would say you are pessimistically optimistic.
Yeah, but I guess it's very, very good sense, because I guess it's something like my natural habit. So I try to see the things as realistic as possible, and I am very, very satisfied if we can do more, if we are better than we think. But also I don't like to have too high goals which are not reachable. And that's.
So right now, what are the biggest challenges for Shopmacher, as a company, to win new clients? Is there any changes in the expectation from the clients?
Yes, I would say the biggest challenge is to identify which customer is the customer you really can help. Because to be honest and fair, not any customer need, not any customer structure, not any customer market field is something we are really able to help. It depends on some figures. And that is something we have to identify. That is something we also even did wrong in the past, that we said, okay, it's a nice project, they want to do, let's say, e-commerce. Okay, we're doing e-commerce, we can do it, but it's not so easy. We have to identify what is the customer, what is the structure of customer, what is the good he like to sell on which market. And that's something we need to figure out, and it gets even harder because the IT market changed as well. You have a lot of new technologies, also new options on the market, and that is very important for us to figure out, and that's also very hard.
So in the broader sense of the industry, what are the changes in the e-commerce industry in general you think are gonna come in and disrupt the whole?
I would say, so it's very interesting because we believe in the solutions like headless solutions since a little bit over 6 years. But as we started with it, it was more like we are way too early. Because there are systems like suited systems you can install, you have a lot of features and functions that are working. So having the idea to separate the system in multiple parts was available but not common for the most people. And so it was hard to find the right projects for it. In the last years, it turned out it is a very good idea because it gives you more opportunities to reflect the situation in the market. So if you say something changed, you need to add an additional part in your platform, then you are able to do it. And that is something what we believe is real changed. And also the big challenge for the market is you have now more players. They are getting more specialized. And also a lot of, let's say, features you would need to do a default handling of processes is now available per default of the software. And so they change the market that you do more, let's say, configuration stuff and maybe a little bit less development in a specific area. Also, that means if you try to develop something where you have to configure it, that also creates a lot of problems later in the project. So also the way of working with technology changed from my perspective.
Mm. Yeah, so this is, I'm gonna be very honest, this is a very tough question. I get a lot from our candidates. When we say that you're gonna work for an agency, you're gonna specialize in e-commerce, they will, as an engineer, they will be like, e-commerce is boring. Basically, 80% of the work has been done already by a plugins or, like by a framework, and all I have to do is only to make everything fall into places and offering the solution. So as an engineer, this is not technology exciting enough for me, and I don't see how I can have a career. So how are you gonna answer these questions?
I would say if it would like you describe, then any available e-commerce system would be awesome. If you check the market, you see there are a lot of issues, starting in the front end, going to the back end, especially with the processes. I believe the most things you have to do in the front end are somehow invented. So from this point of view, you are somehow right, but also we see the mobile market is not done right now, because we see a lot of improvements. For example, Apple now slowly goes with the nature of the PWA push notifications. It's still coming, so a lot of work to do. But more interesting from point of view for an engineer is understanding all about the data, because the workflows behind. The most companies, the bigger benefit you can reach out if you optimize and automate the workflows in the background. It's nothing you can see in the front end, but this is something you can make a real difference between cost and incomings. That's something you need to understand. Okay, where are the data coming? What can I do with the data? Can I, for example, reduce my returns because I have the data? And if someone put two pieces from the same article in the basket with two sizes, you can imagine, okay, at least one will coming back as a return. So what you now will do with it, with the fact, because any return costs you a lot of money. So there's still a lot of work to do. Also, we have a world that we see. Of course, we from a technological industry, we see a lot of things which are available. VR, AI, and so all things. But the truth is, the industry is not so far. Our customers are not so far. Somehow it feels like you change them from paper to digital. And it's somehow true, somehow maybe not, but there's a lot of work to do.
So the hottest news in the late 2022 and the beginning of 2023 is the fact that a lot of big techs and also, the whole industry, there's like a great layoff of hundreds of thousands of engineers all over the world. So as an engineer, what are you looking for? Is there any change in your expectation towards your team? Is there anything they should do more to make sure that at least they keep their job? Yeah. Or to thrive as an engineer in a market.
I heard yesterday here a good idea how to call it. So typically you come from an engineer side. It's more like being if you're in the front end or back end, so you're very specialized. And so I'm more like the naming of an engineer, because you need to understand really what happened. And what we search is people who try to understand. I am the user, so what if I would like to use my solution? What is good, what is bad? And this is more like programming. It's more like you get a task, you have to create an algorithm, or you have to create a database structure. Then you create a database structure, because you get some kind of like a user story, you have acceptance criteria, and then you do it. But what we really like to have and need in the future is people who really understand, why is there a database structure? For what I like to achieve. Because if I understand this, then it doesn't matter if it's front end or back end. And also, it's easier for me to ask, okay, if you like to achieve this, then it's okay to have this database structure, but then let's try to make it not this way, because this way is less complex. I always try to make an example. If you build a new house and you say you need a power plug in a wall, then the guys who build the house will place your power plug on the wall. If it's upstairs, it's not cool for you, but they did the job. The power plug is in the wall. If you say I want to have a power plug on the wall to turn on my TV, then it's maybe a good idea to have the power plug close to the TV. But if you don't give them the information that's for the TV, how should they know? And that's something I feel it's very important to understand what you do. Not only, it shouldn't be enough for you to know that you have to do it. You should try to understand what is the reason behind.
Okay, so because we have been working for long, and I also know that Shopmacher grow, steadily over the years. Comparing, so let's look internally. What are the changes in the cultures? What are the changes in the way you operate your company? And what is the most important challenges that right now you want to resolve so that you can grow even faster and better?
Yeah. I guess starting with the second one, the most challenge is exactly transferring this message. So we, like I said, we grow slowly, but we grow. So it's like we are all very calm. We try to control it as good as possible. Don't try to get hyped and don't try to get overwhelmed. And therefore, we need special people who are able to understand what we're doing, why we do it. It takes a lot of time to bring this message, this information to new people. And that is the biggest challenge, to find the next people who help us to have the next team, the next customer maybe, because actually we try to really regulate how much customers we have and how much people we have. Because also the truth, like in any good company, it's not a secret, maybe no one talking about it, you have not 100% just leaders. But you also need leaders, and not anyone like to be leader, which is totally fine in case. But you need to make sure that there's a percentage between leaders and people who like to get leaded or like to do just their job, which is a lot, by the way. It's not less, it's a lot. That need to be somehow okay. If you have let's say it's hard to say in English, if it's not valid, then it's a problem for your company structure and for your projects and for your customers. And we need to find or train our people to do the next step, and this just takes time. And of course, with the last years, with the COVID situation, it was even harder.
Yeah, so how do you foster a culture of innovation and continuous learning in your organization? How you make the people, passionate with learning and being better?
Yeah, it's a hard challenge. So we try to use the information we got from the market, try to get in contact with vendors, try to understand what they're doing, and then give it to the teams. And okay, let's say and try to POC, for example. We also have some guild meetings for specific roles. We try to do some bar camps, and also we allow the people, let's do some certification, go to events, exhibitions, and also do some trainings. Because we watch a lot of technologies, and also we share a lot of technologies, but not any technology we really like to use. Somehow it's also even important to understand what are the restrictions of a technology. This will help you a lot to understand, okay, there is a technology which can help you in a specific case, but maybe not in any case.
Yeah, so it's about like how, to stay on top of the technology changes, but how can you create a motivation for your people? Like a lot of the time, the people, they become an expert already, in some area. Let's say I'm an oxid specialist. So in general, your implication is that you should look beyond your job, look beyond your company, you should look at the market. My last question is gonna be like how you can, because technology changes every day, and every day there's new framework in the market, there's new trends in the markets. As an engineer, how can I know which thing I should focus on? Because if I start learning everything, then I don't have time to really do the task.
Yeah. In the end, you are not really able to do anything, like you say. You need to make sure that you are somehow in the right bubble. So you need to speak with other people. And what did you try? Why did you try it? What did you figure out? Because you're absolutely right, you cannot try anything. But you can try to have the right people and ask someone. Also, the most thing I like is that I have people around me which doing different things. And I can ask them, why do you did it and what is new? And then I maybe not understand it in the deepest level, but I have an idea, okay, it exists, it can solve something, can maybe not solve something. That helps me a lot, and that gives me an opportunity to even check maybe more than one system. I guess that is my solution for it. Try to speak just with people from the technical industry and see what happened.
So if you reflect on the whole collaboration relationship you have with NFQ, what would you choose as the most critical achievement that we ever made together?
I would say was Corona. So over roughly...
It's not like we created Corona.
No, absolutely not. But it was like over 3 years we are not able to see each other, just on just virtual. Normally we come over frequently, people from the Vietnam teams come to Germany frequently, and we did something totally crazy. In 2020, in the middle of Corona, we are not able to travel, we opened our second location with you together in Da Nang, without seeing the city once, without seeing the people once. And was only possible because we are at this moment staying some years here. We know the people, we know what we like to have. We have very high trust in the people. We had very good managers in the team. And that's how it worked out, because they could travel inside Vietnam. We are not able to do it. It was just all done by video calls. And it worked out until today.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think it's a really good interview. You was truly, sincerely honest. And this is good for any interview.